Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Moore, the Director of Public Information for Horry County Government. Today we are holding a virtual briefing to update our community on continuing Horry County government operations in response to the impacts of the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, within our community. We will have a series of speakers today, including Horry County Council Chairman Johnny Gardner, Horry County Sheriff Phillip Thompson, Chief of Police Joe Hill, Chief of Fire Rescue Joseph Tanner, and the Assistant County Administrator for Public Safety Randy Webster. In addition, Director of Airports Scott Van Mops will be available for questions following the briefing. I want to thank our interpreter, Leslie Klepak, for being with us today. We do ask anyone who plans to broadcast this footage to please keep her in the frame. Just like a typical press briefing, we will take questions at the end from members of the media. We will take a short break during this briefing to allow time for our media partners to ask questions. Media members are reminded to text your questions to Michaela Moskov in the Public Information Office. At this point, I will turn it over to Horry County Council Chairman Johnny Gardner.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Leslie. Good afternoon, folks. Thank you for tuning in for our weekly press briefing on the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to make a few comments before I turn it over to our experts to give you the weekly briefing, followed by questions and answers. Before I get too far in this, I'd like to announce that Horry County will have a committee to help get things started back. We're going to call it the Welcome Back Horry County Committee. And it's welcoming not only tourists in along the lines of the governor's order, but welcoming back the locals, the workers, the businesses, everybody that makes things work and makes Horry County a great place to live and work. Welcome back. We're going to move forward in a safe but expeditious way as long as we can. And I want to name off a few people that we're going to put on that committee. All volunteers, of course. Everybody probably would want to volunteer, but we're going to, this is a start. We may add some more later as we need to. But Tyler Servant, Lance Thompson, John Cassidy, Richard Carroll, Rick Elliott, Wayne Gray. These are all members of the community that are out there working and have a little bit of expertise in a little different areas. We also are inviting representatives from the city of Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Surfside, and Conway. They have a seat at the table. We're also inviting our experts from our first responders, Chief Hill, our fire chief, Mr. Webster, Mr. Gosnell. I will also be on this committee, and we're going to ask Orton Bellamy to chair it. We look forward to moving forward in a safe and prudent manner as we welcome everybody back to Horry County. Speaking of that, I'd like to touch on a few things from the governor's latest order. Short-term rentals will end this week on April 30th. We will continue to follow the governor's guidance. We will honor his prohibition against taking reservations from the certain areas. Those are the ones listed on the CDC website or travel list, or whichever one that's most up to date. As it stands now, it looks like it's New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Speaking of the governor, pursuant to his last order that he did, our accesses to the beaches are open. We have ramps for boating open. We encourage people to get out, but get out safely. Doesn't mean you have to go out if you don't feel like going out, or if you're sick, stay home. But we have things to do in Horry County. Welcome back to Horry County. During this emergency, we have consistently followed the governor's directions, and we will continue to do that. I have asked everybody every time we've done these weekly meetings to take some responsibility for themselves, and they have. I'd like to say a big thank you to the citizens and residents of Horry County. Everybody here, I think, has done a great job in trying to do their part. There have been some people that haven't complied, and that's the way it is when you have a lot of people involved. But by and large, most of the Horry County people are doing what we can to make this safe for us as we move forward. I'd like to thank our staff to continue to work hard basically around the clock, doing their regular jobs and then doing this second job of dealing with this pandemic. We will get through this together. Please stay tuned, and we'll bring up some experts. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. And as we continue to go through with these weekly meetings and what we do in each and every week, we're beginning to see a little light maybe at the end of the tunnel. The sheriff's office, things are status quo, nothing really new as far as what we're doing. We're continuing on with our mission and what we do each and every day. I am very proud to report to you that we have not had any more cases with employees or inmates at JV Long Detention Center. We still only have one person that has been affected, and that person is still in quarantine, but we have no other quarantines within our staff in the sheriff's office, detention center, or anywhere else. So we're going to continue on. We ask that you continue with your patience and understanding. We're working very closely with our other department heads, the public safety, with county staff, and with everyone. I'd be real glad when this gets through, as I know you will, but we ask for your patience and we ask for you to continue to abide by the rulings and the things that we have to do. So at this particular time, I'll turn it over to our police chief, Joe Hill. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. My name is Joe Hill. I'm the Chief of Police of Horry County. And the big news for us is the opening of the beaches last week. Our officers are making contact with folks to gently remind them about the social distancing rules. As you would expect, with the increase of people on the beach, our contacts have increased, but folks are, for the most part, very compliant. As we and our officers make our way around the county, as we shop, as we observe crowds of people at various locations, we're seeing compliance, self-compliance. We're seeing folks gently reminding their fellow shoppers about their social distancing rules. And that's the way a community works. We have to work together, support one another. I know tensions are high. I know anxieties are high. But we have to, as a community, work together to make sure that we maintain our distance and also the governor's mandate. And we've done a great job in the county, if you look at our numbers, with reducing the spread of this virus. Your police department is here to help you. Whatever you need, you just call us. And we're looking forward to a time where we can get back to normal. Our officers, starting today, we started planning on the reopening of the county, if you will, and bringing folks welcoming back into Horry County. So we're planning for our next big event, which will be Memorial Day. We hope people will come and visit us if this thing has passed, and if not, we will deal with the folks that are here enjoying this beautiful area that we live, work, and play in. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our Fire Chief, Joseph Tanner.
Thank you, Chief Hill. Good afternoon. Thank you all for tuning in. Your Horry County Fire Rescue continues to respond on a daily basis. We're beginning to see a small uptick in our calls, but it's not with the COVID type calls. It's just that time of season for us, and we'll continue to see that. Our crews continue to work very safely and very efficiently in the field, responding to your needs, and they will continue to do that as we continue to move forward here. We will tell you that of the 209 confirmed cases in Horry County, the Horry County Fire Rescue has transported 18 of those. But all of our employees are wearing their PPEs the way they should, and they remain protected through this time here. We continue to sterilize our ambulances and our fire apparatus and our fire stations to make sure it's a safe work environment in the fire stations as well. We appreciate your cooperation in the physical distancing and frequent hand washing, and also checking on each other. It's very important that you continue to do that as we continue to move forward here. So at this time, I'll tell you, we're going to take a 2-minute break for you to submit your questions, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, thank you for the opportunity for us to brief you on what's going on in the past week. A little bit of tidbit of information. This is actually day 47 for us. The Emergency Operations Center has been activated virtually for 47 days. That is a record for our EOC activations, both in the fact it's been virtual for this entire time and the fact that our previous record was 28 days post-Florence. So this one will go down, and it continues to go forward as we continue to work our way through COVID-19. I also want to say on behalf of the administrator and the other assistant county administrators, just thank you to our employees. Doing a wonderful job. We're just so inspired every day about how well things are going and how they're adapting to all these different changes throughout the week. Once again, thank you so much for what you're doing to serve the folks of Horry County. With that said, we'll go ahead and take a few questions.
Ian Klein with WMBF asks, as a county that thrives off the hospitality tourism industry, what are your biggest concerns about reopening and welcoming back visitors? Do you foresee travel restrictions?
So I don't foresee travel restrictions beyond what the governor executive order currently is and will be at least for the next 14 days or so. We all are concerned, individually and throughout the community and what this COVID virus is going to continue to do moving forward. But I think if everybody takes the proper precautions and does the things that we've been asking them to do, from the CDC to DHEC and others, that everybody can stay as safe as possible moving forward, and then we'll just continue to battle our way through this virus and get to the other end, hopefully.
Ian Klein with WMBF asks, when the public beach access is reopened, each municipality handled the situation differently. Some stayed closed and others implemented restrictions. How important is it to be on the same page with city and town leaders in the county as things start to reopen? Do these different rules get confusing in regards to enforcement?
So in regarding enforcement, each one of our jurisdictions has the autonomy to enforce things as they need to within their jurisdictions. It's better if we're all doing it the same way, but it's not so much of a hindrance. The problem becomes, especially on the beach, there's no line in the sand literally that says which jurisdiction you're in, so most folks don't know. But I can tell you this, just from over the years of working together, those things do get worked out, especially from our public safety officials. They know how to work together very well, and they work through those issues. And so I don't see it as a big problem, but it is better if everybody is on the same page.
Tyler Fleming with the Sun News asks, will there be any limit on occupancy or operations related to short-term rentals once they are open?
So for Horry County and the unincorporated areas, our prohibition will end Thursday from what the council had put in place. From that point forward, we'll be following the governor's executive orders. So at this point, it will be just exactly how the governor has laid it out as how we'll work forward with short-term rentals.
Tyler Fleming with the Sun News asks, if hotels do reopen on May 1st, are we confident there's been enough testing to deem it safe to welcome tourists back?
So testing's a big issue nationally, and there's many different ways to look at that. So instead of worrying about the testing piece, because that's a snapshot in time, we just need to continue to move forward with all the protective measures that we can as individuals, using the proper techniques as laid out by CDC and DHEC for South Carolina. And I think if we do that, then people will stay as safe as they possibly can.
Heather Gale with WPDE asks, when will meetings start for the committee the chairman referenced? Can you talk more about the formation and what the main goals are? Will they start after the governor lifts more restrictions?
I'd like to ask if Chairman Gardner will come up and address that question.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. I will try to answer that question as best I can. I will start by telling you we're still in the early stages of formation of both the committee and the plans that go therewith. We're going to have the meeting as soon as we can bring everybody together. This week would be good if we could do that. This is a committee formed by volunteers throughout this community. These are people in the different work fields that bring a certain level of expertise. We're also bringing government representatives from cities that will have a seat at the table. We have our department heads for protection. We'll all come together and we'll hopefully help some plans that are peculiar and particular to Horry County. For Horry County, help Horry County get past this pandemic. We've been closed down basically for all essential purposes for workforce. People are hurting. Businesses are hurting. We need to do something to try to help Horry County move forward. We may not accomplish anything, but I think we will. If we don't try, though, I know we won't. So we're going to move forward. We're going to meet with some people that bring something to the table and hopefully come up with some options for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Heather Gale with WPDE asks, how is MYR handling the changes to fewer passengers, and what are they planning when things get back to normal?
So I'd like to ask Director Scott Van Mops to answer that question, please.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you. We're working with our airline partners to ensure the safety of all our passengers. Please look to our Facebook page, our website, and that of the airlines. The airlines have added a lot of safety measures over the past 4 to 6 weeks to ensure the passenger safety. Thank you.
Jessica Sonardo with WMBF asks, have any more first responders for the county tested positive for COVID-19? If so, how many are in quarantine?
So right now, as of right this moment, we are not aware of any other employees that have tested positive in any way. As Chief Tanner had mentioned earlier, we've been in contact with those folks, but our proper procedures have been in place. And that could probably happen in the near, as we continue down this road through this virus. So once again, it's just so important everybody to do your part and to make sure you're doing the steps for preventive measures, washing hands, social distancing. We'll do our part to protect you with wearing our PPE. And once again, we'll just strive as best we can as a community to get through this and try to work together to become, keep the virus at bay as best we can.
Matt Swartz with WBTW asks, are COVID-related calls for HCFR down? If so, does Chief Tanner have an estimate or a number from last week?
I'd like to have Chief Tanner to answer that question, please. Thank you for the question. As we report every week, we're down around less than 30 calls of people who call that meet some of the symptoms, but it does not mean that they are positive. So those calls continue to drop. I think the last I saw, like yesterday, I think it was like 18 calls, but I think it's less than 30 calls every week. Thanks, Chief.
That's all the questions we have from media at this time.
Thank you all very much. We really appreciate you tuning in and receiving our update for this week.